Good evening. How it's going? What are you doing right now? Of course, I am staying here and try to share something with you before I go to bed. Honestly, today I was so busy that I couldn't record a short video in the early morning and the late afternoon. And honestly, when I went to home from the work, I tried to record a short video for you. So I was so busy that I couldn't do that. So, as mentioned earlier, I would like to record a short video and post it on my social media every day. This is the reason why, although I am so busy, I still try my best to record a short video about a short topic for you. This is my target. I try to do every day. When we set up the target, because of some challenging, some difficulties we face. So we need to keep self-discipline about the target. Try to do it before we are successful. Right. Now I want to share with you a small topic about disadvantages when we live and work in big cities such as Hanoi City and Ho Chi Minh City. You know, there are also two sides of the problem, advantages and disadvantages. When we live in a big city or when we live in our province, in our hometown, we are we are usually facing the both disadvantages and advantages. Yesterday, I shared with you about some advantages when we live and work in Hanoi City. Today, I would like to share with you about the disadvantages when we decide to live and work in Hanoi City. Hanoi is the capital of Vietnam. Now, there are more than 30 million people living and working in Hanoi City, and more people come to the Hanoi and decide to stay in Hanoi again. You know, there are some advantages when we live and work in Hanoi. This is the reason why more and more people decide to stay in Hanoi after they graduate from the university. It's very easy for us to understand. So, the people, especially the young people who decide to live and work in Hanoi City, they also face some challenging, some difficulties when they live in Hanoi. Firstly, the Hanoi is a big city, is the developed city in Vietnam. It's the much more competitive. It's much more competitive for the young people to live in Hanoi City. You know, there are lots of talented people living and working here in Hanoi. So when you live and work in Hanoi, it means you have to compete with the talented people, the hardworking people, and talent people. It means you need to level up yourself every day. You need to learn, study, upgrade, level up yourself day by day. This is a challenge for everybody when they decide to live and work in Hanoi. Secondly, the labor market in Hanoi is very competitive. It's much competitive than the labor market in provinces. So if you would like to get a well-paid job, if you would like to apply for a job in a company, you have a lot of competition with other people, and more importantly, you can lose the job if you don't work effectively. It's very easy for you to lay off when you work for a company in a big city in Hanoi, of course. It usually gives us a lot of pressure in our life. If you decide to live and work in Hanoi, you need to accept, you need to know this challenging and this difficulty. And next disadvantage I would like to discuss with you, the expense in Hanoi City is much higher and is much more expensive than to live in the other city and provinces in Vietnam. For example, there are lots of expense you need to pay if you live and work in Hanoi. For example, we are we come from the other provinces and city in Vietnam. When we decide to live and work in Hanoi City, basically we need to pay the money for rent a room, rent a house. Honestly, the money we have to pay for the rent room is quite much. Sometimes it is 1 to 3 income we earn every month. Moreover, the food is much more expensive than the food in the countryside. You need to pay more money for food, for traveling, for shopping, for entertainment when we live and work in the big city. And the result, if you don't earn enough money, maybe you you find it difficulty to live in Hanoi. Some people, although they work hard, so after some years, they decide to leave Hanoi for their hometown because they couldn't save money. They they couldn't save enough money to buy uh, apartment, buy a house, buy land slot. Honestly, there are two sides of problem. If we decide to live in big city, you need to prepare some condition to face the challenging difficulties, obstacle when you live in a big city. This is something I would like to share with you today, and I hope my sharing is a little bit meaningful for you and can motivate you to study English more. And thank you for listening to my story today. If you have any idea about the topic, don't hesitate to discuss with us. We are very happy and we are high appreciate about what you share, what you discuss with us. Thank you for listening my story again. Bye bye and see you on the next time.